One accusation can change someone's entire life. Not proof, not facts, just accusation. One rumor at work, one misunderstanding, one person deciding you are who you are before hearing your side. And suddenly people look at you differently. That's terrifying when you think about it. Because once people stop seeing you as a human, they start treating you like a problem instead. Aloha Ohana, there's something I've noticed about human beings. Most people don't actually fear failure, they fear humiliation, they fear being falsely judged, misunderstood, labeled, excluded, punished socially before truth even has a chance to exist. And honestly, social media made this worse. People can build entire opinions in seconds now. No conversation, no context, no humanity, just reaction. Universal human rights says no one should be unfairly arrested, detained, or exiled. Now, most people hear that and think, well, that doesn't apply to me. But emotionally, it applies to almost everybody because humans exile people socially all the time. People get pushed out of workplaces, friend groups, communities, and even families. Not always because they're dangerous, sometimes because they're misunderstood. And once someone feels isolated long enough, it changes how they see themselves. I was thinking, you know, it's just hard, right? It's just hard the way the world is. I think of one of the most damaging things a person can experience, and that is feeling condemned without being heard. That feeling stays with people. It makes people anxious, defensive, guarded. Some people stop trusting others completely after enough unfair experiences. And what scares me sometimes is how quickly society moves. Quick opinions, quick judgments, quick outrage, but very little curiosity, very little grace. I have seen exhausted people snap emotionally over tiny moments, not because the moment is huge, but because the life had already worn them down before that moment even happened. That's why compassion matters. That's why it matters more than people realize. You never fully know what someone is carrying. So let's take a look at video number 9. Yeah, that may have been a little hard to see, hard to watch, right? Because that is what it feels like when people don't listen or don't explain or don't communicate. When people judge so quickly. In that video, he's imprisoned and he doesn't even know why. He doesn't even know why. So here's the question I keep thinking about. Have we become too comfortable judging people before understanding them? Because healthy communities require accountability and humanity, both, not one without the other. People should absolutely take responsibility for harm. But human beings always deserve fairness. We deserve context. We deserve conversation. And we deserve dignity. And maybe one of the most powerful things that we can do right now is to slow down before deciding who someone is. Because every person you meet is more complicated than the worst thing said about them. People can say a lot, but how would you know if that is true if you never gave it a chance or never asked the person? So, if this is resonating with you and sharing the 30 universal human rights is something you want to learn more of, then subscribe for my next video. Share this one and tell me in the comments, have you ever felt misunderstood in a way that changed you emotionally? I want to tell you a story about my story. When I was in that domestic violence situation, my own family never asked me. They I would be up in the room and uh, not wondering why I'm up there when everyone else is having a party downstairs. They would just carry on. He could lie, he could say things, he could do whatever. And nobody ever came up and made sure that I was okay. Human right number 9. It says freedom from unfair punishment, detention, or exile. Now, it's not only in the government systems, it's not only in law, but it's freedom from unfair punishment, right? Wasn't I being punished for something that I didn't do? Yes. Unfair detention. What is detention? Holding someone, detaining them. Wasn't I unfairly detained in that room when I had to speak out and have someone hear me on the outside to call the police. Yes. So, universal human rights, number 9, is not just imprisonment. It is those cages. It is those prisons that people are in their daily lives, and detention, keeping someone when they don't want to be held captive. Yeah. So, like I said, going over this universal, the Declaration of Universal Human Rights, it is so important. It is so important because you need to see how it applies to your life. And if you are being treated unfairly, if your human rights are violated, you need to know that they are, and that they are protected by law. We can't stand on something, we can't stand on a foundation that we know nothing about. So that is why this is so important. Subscribe, share, and I'll see you tomorrow. Aloha, God's blessings always. Ahoy ho.